Thousands of years ago, on the banks of the mighty Nile, there ruled a man so powerful that people called him God. His name was Ramses, but history remembers him as Firaun the Pharaoh. He sat on a throne made of pure gold, surrounded by columns taller than most modern buildings. His armies were endless. His granaries overflowed. His magicians could make snakes out of sticks, and rivers appeared to turn to blood. He had convinced millions that he was divine, that life and death were in his hands. But in the darkness of one ordinary night, far from the glittering palace, a child was born who would become the greatest threat Firaun had ever faced. The pharaoh had a dream. In that dream, he saw fire coming from the house of the Israelites, burning everything except his own palace. The dream terrified him. His priests and astrologers told him one thing: a boy will be born among the Israelites who will cause your downfall. So Firaun gave the most brutal order ever recorded in history. Every newborn Hebrew boy was to be thrown into the river. The Nile, the same river that gave life to Egypt, would become a graveyard for innocent children. Year after year, the screams of mothers filled the air. Soldiers snatched babies from arms and tossed them into the current while crocodiles waited below. But Allah had already written a different plan. A woman from the family of Imran gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. When she looked into his eyes, she felt something different. This child was not ordinary. She named him Musa, Moses. But the soldiers were coming closer every day. The mother's heart was breaking. Then Allah spoke to her heart. Nurse him as long as you can. When you fear for his life, put him in a wooden box and place the box in the river. Do not be afraid. I will return him to you and make him one of my messengers. Imagine the courage it took. She made a small basket of reeds, sealed it with tar and pitch, placed her tiny son inside with heavy heart, and released him into the Nile. His older sister, Miriam, stood on the bank, watching from a distance, following the basket with terrified eyes. The current carried the little basket right toward the pharaoh's palace gardens. The royal women were bathing. One of them, the queen herself, Asya, saw the basket floating. She ordered it brought to her. When they opened it, there lay a baby boy, crying softly, with the most beautiful face. Asya's heart melted. She said, "This is the light of my eyes. Do not kill him. Perhaps he will be useful to us, or we may adopt him as a son." Firaun's wife had just saved the very child who was prophesied to destroy him. Musa grew up in the palace as a prince of Egypt. He wore the finest linen, ate from golden plates, learned war, magic, and politics. Yet deep inside, something always felt wrong. He knew he didn't belong to this world of oppression. One day, when Musa was a grown man of strength and courage, he went out into the city. There he saw an Egyptian taskmaster brutally beating a helpless Israelite slave. The slave cried for help. Something snapped inside Musa. Without thinking, he stepped forward and struck the taskmaster. One powerful blow. The man fell dead. Musa was horrified. He whispered, "This is from the work of Satan." He asked Allah for forgiveness. But the next day, he saw two men fighting again, one Hebrew, one Egyptian. When Musa tried to intervene, the Hebrew man shouted in panic, "Are you going to kill me like you killed the man yesterday?" The secret was out. Within hours, the entire city knew. The palace guards were hunting Musa. The man who grew up as a prince now became a fugitive. He fled Egypt, crossing deserts, walking days without water, until he reached the land of Madian. There, tired and thirsty, he helped two young women water their flock when other shepherds pushed them away. Their father, an old, wise man named Shuaib Jethro, invited Musa to his home. Musa stayed. He married one of the daughters, Sapphira. For 10 long years he lived a quiet life as a shepherd, far from palaces and power. Those years were his training. Allah was preparing him. One day, while Musa was guiding his flock near the valley of Tuwa, he saw something impossible. A tree was burning, but it was not turning to ash. The flames danced, bright and alive, yet the branches remained green. Musa walked closer. A voice came from the fire, clear, powerful, merciful. "O Musa, verily I am Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Throw down your staff." Musa's staff fell. It turned into a huge serpent, moving fast. Musa turned to run in fear. The voice said, "Take hold of it, and fear not. We shall return it to its former state." Musa grabbed the snake. It became a staff again. Then Allah said, "Put your hand inside your cloak. Bring it out white, without disease. These are 2 signs for Firaun and his chiefs. They are a rebellious people." Musa trembled. "My Lord, my tongue is not fluent. I get tongue-tied. Send Harun, Aaron, my brother, with me. He speaks clearly." Allah answered, "We will strengthen your arm through your brother. No one will reach you. Go with our signs. We are with you listening." Musa returned to Egypt after 20 long years. He found his brother Harun. Together they went to Firaun's court. The palace was more magnificent than ever. Firaun sat on his throne like a living god. Guard, magicians, nobles, hundreds of eyes watched. Musa stood tall and spoke. "We are messengers from the Lord of the worlds. Let the children of Israel go with us. Stop oppressing them." Firaun laughed, a cruel, cold laugh. "Who is this Lord of the worlds I should obey? I do not know him. And Musa, aren't you the same man we raised in our palace? The one who killed our man and ran away like a coward?" Musa answered calmly, "I did that when I was ignorant. I fled, but Allah forgave me and made me a messenger." Firaun sneered. "Show me a sign, then, if you are truthful." Musa threw down his staff. The court screamed. The staff became a huge, living serpent, slithering across the marble floor, hissing, chasing the magicians who ran in terror. Then Musa put his hand in his cloak and pulled it out, shining white like the sun, blinding everyone, yet no pain, no disease. Firaun's face changed. For a second, real fear, but he quickly covered it. He shouted to his magicians, "Throw down what you have." The greatest sorcerers of Egypt stepped forward. They threw their ropes and staffs. In front of everyone's eyes, the ropes and staffs turned into snakes, hundreds of them. But then Musa's serpent moved. It swallowed every single one of their snakes, one by one, until nothing was left. The magicians fell on their faces. "We believe in the Lord of Musa and Harun." Firaun exploded in rage. "You believe in him before I give you permission. I will cut off your hands and feet on opposite sides and crucify you on the trunks of palm trees. You will know who is the greater in punishment." But the signs kept coming. Allah sent 9 clear signs of Firaun and his people. First, the flood. The Nile overflowed, destroying crops, homes, everything except where the Israelites lived. Then locusts, clouds so thick they blocked the sun. They ate every green thing left. Then lice. Every person in Egypt itched day and night. Frogs. Millions of frogs entered homes, beds, ovens, even the palace. Blood. The Nile turned to blood for 7 days. Egyptians couldn't drink. Fish died. Stench filled the air. But every time, Firaun's heart hardened more. Each time the punishment lifted, he said, "This is just magic. We will not let them go." The people suffered. The magicians were executed. Yet Firaun refused. Then came the final warning. Musa gathered the Israelites. "Get ready. Tonight we leave. Prepare your belongings. Slaughter a lamb and mark your doors with its blood. The angel of death will pass over tonight." That night, the worst night Egypt ever saw. At midnight, a terrible cry rose from every house that had no blood on the door. Firstborn sons, from the lowest slave to the highest noble, died instantly. Even Firaun's own firstborn, the prince he loved most, lay dead. Only the houses marked with blood were spared. Firaun broke. In the middle of the night, he sent for Musa. "Go, take your people. Leave Egypt. Just pray for me. Ask your Lord forgive me." But it was too late for his soul. The Israelites, 600,000 men plus women and children, left in haste. They carried dough on their shoulders because there was no time to let it rise. They walked toward the sea. Firaun's advisors came to him the next morning. "The slaves are gone. Our economy is collapsing. Our labor force is walking away. We cannot let this happen." Firaun's pride returned. He gathered his army, the best chariots, the strongest horses, the most feared soldiers. He said, "I will bring them back or die trying." Meanwhile, the Israelites reached the Red Sea. Ahead, endless water. Behind, the dust clouds of Firaun's army approaching fast. The people panicked. They shouted at Musa, "Did you bring us here to die? We were better off as slaves." Musa stood calm. He said, "No, Allah is with us." Allah commanded Musa, "Strike the sea with your staff." Musa raised the staff. The wind began to roar, an east wind so powerful it pushed the water. The sea split, not just parted. It split into two massive walls of water. The seabed became dry land. Fish were visible inside the walls, frozen in place. The Israelites looked in awe. Musa led them. They walked between the mountains of water. 12 paths for the 12 tribes. Children ran. Elders walked slowly. Cattle moved, all crossing to the other side. Behind them, Firaun's army reached the shore. When they saw the sea parted, even the bravest hesitated. Firaun shouted, "Do not be afraid. Follow them. The sea has opened for us too." His chariots charged into the path. When the last Israelite stepped onto the other shore, the last Egyptian chariot entered the middle of the sea. Allah said to Musa, "Strike the sea again with your staff." Musa obeyed. The walls of water collapsed. The sea came roaring back. Tons of water, furious, unstoppable. Chariots flipped. Horses screamed. Soldiers drowned. Gold armor dragged men to the bottom. Firaun, sitting in his royal chariot, felt the water rising. He looked up and shouted, the first time he ever admitted truth, "I believe that there is no God except the one in whom the children of Israel believe. I am of those who submit." But Allah answered, "Now? And you had disobeyed before and were of corrupters." The water closed over him. His body was thrown up by the waves, lifeless, a lesson for future generations. Today, some say the Pharaoh's body was preserved, mummified by the salt water and sand, and still exists in a museum as a silent witness. The Israelites stood on the other side, safe, free, crying with joy. They sang praises to Allah. Musa looked at the sea that had just become a graveyard for the greatest army on earth, and he said, "Allah is sufficient for us, and he is the best disposer of affairs." And that is how Allah destroyed Firaun. Not with swords, not with armies, not with politics, but with one command, one staff, and one moment when the sea obeyed its creator. This story is not just history. It is proof that no matter how high your throne, how strong your army, how deep your arrogance, when Allah decides, the game ends. And when he splits the sea for someone, nothing can stand in the way. End of story. If this powerful story of faith, courage, and divine justice moved you, then hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications so you never miss these life-changing stories from the past that still speak to us today. Like, share, and comment which part of the country you're watching from. I want to know. See you in the next story. Inshallah.